What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to Your Ex-Drinking Buddy. My name is Brennan Tassif. I'll be your host. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Check out the merch store at brennantcomedy.com/merch-store. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well. We'll put the shorts up there, the full video, the whole thing. Thank you so much for listening. I love it. I hope you love it. Subscribe on Patreon, too. We do bonus episodes. I do Tales from the Restaurant, where I talk about celebrities I've waited on and whether they're assholes or not, which is super fun. Also, we do a pre-show banter for my other show, Cheers from the Press Box with Joe Dorville. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on over there, too. Make sure you just subscribe everywhere, just all over the place. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not leaving the mean comments, thank you for that. Maybe leave a couple nice ones.
Grab me a beer and grab me a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. Hang on, say it one more time. 3, 2. This is gonna be fun, man. What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition. I'm too hot. God damn it. You'd think I haven't done 300-something episodes of this. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do, hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and then reminisce about those crazy stories. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do, hang out with somebody, reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by guests. This week is no exception. All the way from Brooklyn, New York, by way of Tennessee, Rob J.
I'm so glad that your energy is consistent. You're crazy at the comedy clubs, and even sitting here one-on-one in this intimate setting, you still crazy as fuck.
Oh, crazy.
Am I allowed to use profanity?
Yeah,
Okay.
fuck yeah, you are. Goddamn right you are.
Family show.
We are a family show, but still. What family? A family that doesn't swear together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to get into it, but your family, I'm assuming, does not swear.
My sister, she gets colorful. I don't know if my nephew, but no, my mom and dad.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They don't. I paint them as like religious. They're not religious, but they're compared to us.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, but compared to other religious people, they're not.
Well, before we get too far into anything, plug everything up front. Plug your social media, the whole thing. The whole thing.
Yeah. He said, you see that pivot? He's a professional.
Let's see.
What am I plugging? Oh.
Your social media.
Instagram. That's what the kids use. Rob J Thoughts. ROBJ Thoughts like thinking. THOUGHTS. Look at that.
Boom.
Oh, spelling bee champ, 3rd grade. Well, I made it, but I lost in the first round. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're gonna edit that shit.
That's a big jump from champ to I got there.
We gotta be humble. You gotta be humble and honest. That's what I'm learning. That's what the comedians tell me. Be honest. And every time I'm honest, I say I have an 8-inch dick. They go, that's not comedy though. And I'm like, it's the truth.
You gotta be truthful, man.
That's
what we're talking about.
I didn't mean to touch your knee when I said that. Anyway. All right. I didn't know what we were. I don't know, man.
No, you're good. Don't worry. I'm gonna drive the ship. You're all right.
There you go,
listeners. We're in the new studio. I don't know if you can tell.
It's beautiful in here.
Astoria studio. Now that I live in Astoria.
Yes.
We got the whole setup back here. You got the podcast award.
Yes.
Rob is the first guest in this studio. This is
what?
probably going to be the studio moving forward.
Kamala got people just reaching out for black people everywhere. I see.
You said at the mic the other day, you were like, I'm going to be Brennan's first black guest. And it was so funny. But I really wanted to be like, I have Anika McLean in the can right now. She's coming out next week. Derek Gaines has been on this podcast.
I love putting people on the spot like that.
I know, it was so
I didn't know I was the first actual guest here.
Yeah,
though.
in this apartment.
That's bigger than just
So this was the whole reason we went to the home studio was because I was moving in here and we had this cool little setup.
Yeah.
But I kind of jumped the gun and I was like, oh, I'll do the home studio. And I was telling you, I was doing it at my apartment. My roommates that I was living with at the time were like, yeah, you could do it from your bedroom.
Yeah,
it's kind of cramped.
I'm glad I'm not in your bedroom. As much as I want to make it in Hollywood, I don't want to be in Brennan's bedroom to make it.
I know. That's a weird place to be.
That's when I know I'm going to be in the movies.
That's
what I know.
Well, let's talk about it. So you've been doing comedy for a little while now.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. So for those of you listening, I met Rob. We kind of clicked. You like to laugh. I like to laugh.
Yes.
We both have a similar sense of
Brennan
humor.
laughs like a black man.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just put it out there. There ain't no like to laugh. It's people who laugh, but this is what Brennan does. If a joke is there we go. But I want to imitate it because I love it. When I met him, I met his laugh first, and his laugh jumped in the comedy club like a drunk black uncle. Someone said something funny, and Brennan went, ha! Ha! I said, who is that black man? Oh, shit. But then he said he was from Florida. I said, same. And plus he played football, as he tells everyone.
Oh, yeah, they know.
I didn't know if they knew. I didn't know if he mentioned it.
They are aware.
Because I was going to plug you.
The listeners, I appreciate it. The listeners are aware. So it was interesting because you have a very specific way you like to speak. You, what's the word I'm looking? You kind of command.
I speak so well.
Yeah, you speak very well, but you
that train's never late.
You command the attention of the audience. So there's a lot of comics that'll go up and they're just kind of like, but you get up and you're like, no. You're going to listen to me. You have a whole bit about why you speak that way, which is hilarious. Yeah. But I wanted to get – because you've lived in New York for a while.
2016, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And you had told me this because I first met you at the mics, and we kind of hit it off right away because we're both into sports. You know, we're both black. It's a whole thing.
I believe it. I believe it. See that laugh? That is – my uncle would be like, that's some nigga in there. That is – he might not know it yet. 23 and nigga me. It's it is there.
You started doing comedy, and then I just assumed, like everyone assumed, and you and I talked about this outside the Grizzly Pear one night. You're like, yeah, everyone thinks I just got to New York.
Yeah.
Like in the comedy scene because you had just started doing comedy. But you're like, no, I got here a while ago. And I was kind of like, yeah, idiots. But in my head, I was like, I also thought you just moved here as well. Yeah. So let's go through it. Before we get into some of the stories that you sent me, because you sent me a few, let's get into just how you even got to New York in the first place. How you got... Were you always a fan of stand-up before you tried it?
Absolutely. I was I was one of those life got in the way kind of guys. So in college, friends like, oh, try it. You're funny or whatever. And I did it, but it wasn't, let's say 8 months went by.
Yeah.
You're right. So no consistency.
Where'd you go to college?
University of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
Okay.
Same place Terrell Owens went. Yeah. I don't know if you know him. He actually played. Okay.
He
all right. Y'all the same. That's what I meant. Y'all got the same Hall of Fame.
Terrell?
Brent. Yeah.
Terrell?
T and T.O. Anyway.
PT and T.O., baby.
There you go. I went to Oral Roberts University as well before that. But anyway, that was Christian college. But then I went. Anyway. So in college, tried it, messed around, went to mics and stuff like that. But I realized real quickly, I had no life story, suburban kid, and I'm trying to, reach my people, and I was like, you know what, I wanna do this, but I gotta do it the right way. So in my mind, I was like, how can I get life stories as quick as possible? I joined the Army.
Boom, that's how it's done.
Yeah, I was like. Well,
how many mics did you do before? Like, how many times had you been on stage before you were just like, oh, I don't have anything to talk about?
It wasn't even that, but I had gone, let's say, once every 3 months or something like that. Okay. Because it wasn't a big, in Chattanooga, Tennessee, it wasn't a big, it might be now, but at the time, it wasn't a big open mic. Yeah. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was in college. Like, college was the main focus. I made sure to turn my papers in late. Like, I was like, focused on that. I was like, how can I
get them in?
Perfect procrastination. Yeah. That's what I was focused on. God. And girls, I didn't know if I mentioned girls were a thing
you did not.
In college. Yeah. But anyway, so I joined the Army, but my whole game plan was do one contract and then segue that into a big city.
Okay.
And so
how long is a contract?
For me, it was 4.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so I'm obsessed with these little details. Yeah. So when you show up, and I know you've talked about this on stage before, but just for the listeners, are you just like sitting in your dorm room one day and you're like, this is what I'm going to do? Or were you out walking around? Or like what happened to go Army?
Okay. So I'm a problem solver. So I realized I didn't have any life experience because my parents did a great job. And I mean this where I didn't have a colorful life. And I didn't realize my life was so boring because they did such a good job. They were always there, so supportive. And I was sitting at the kitchen table and my dad was talking about, because he's a veteran. He did 10 years or whatever. He was like, I remember I was on a security detail in Israel for a prime minister. And I was so frustrated, but he didn't realize how frustrated I was. And I was like, when the fuck am I gonna be in it? I didn't say it like that.
Yeah. Yo, Pop!
Yeah. No, wasn't that. But I was like, I was like, Dad, when am I gonna be in Israel? When am I gonna have? And he was like, oh, well, get a travel agent. I was like, I don't have no money. I'm a broke college student with an allowance. Yeah, and
were you living at home at the time?
Absolutely, because it was a local college.
Got it.
I went away for school, but then I transferred. But anyway, so being frustrated, suburban kid, supportive family. I'm gonna find something to bitch about. That's the American kid way. You're too supportive, Dad. I can't be a rapper. Anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'm joining the army, and it shook up my whole family because they like.
Was your dad in the army?
He was, but he was one of them guys. I'm gonna do this, so nobody else after me had. But
that's the branch that he was in.
He was in the army. He was a detective or whatever, and so I just was like, frustrated. Senior in college, my life was going like this: graduate from school, get an entry level management position, get married, have kids, and then watch my kids go for their dreams. And I was like, fuck that. Like, who wrote this? You ever like read a script and be like, I gotta suck a dick? Like I read the script and I was like, I'm not.
Are we doing rewrites?
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Who's doing the rewrites?
And I just was like, how can I shake my life up? And my dad was like, if you want to go to Atlanta and shoot for the stars, I'm not paying for it. And because he was like, son, nobody's forcing you.
So he said that. He said, if you want to go to Atlanta and do this, you're on your own.
Because we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So Atlanta was the place, a lot of entertainers, especially black, they go to Atlanta. Tyler Perry's there, right?
He's got his whole studio there now.
Right. But at this time, it was all in the beginning, right? So this like 2011.
And Atlanta, for those of you listening, everyone talks about LA and New York and now Austin. Atlanta has a scene. I'm from the
Black
Southeast.
Hollywood.
Yeah, and I've performed there a ton, and it's a huge scene.
Yeah.
So
in 2011, it wasn't as established,
but it was still
headed.
It was
a place you could go. And so I'm like, I'm not about to. I was like, I'm not about to be an artist. Like. I was like, I need funding, I need support, and my parents
so used to the cushy life with your family.
Yeah, but I knew because you know how it is. I'm not about to be struggling, so I was like, okay, if my parents won't support me, who would support my idea right away? And I was just like, okay, I'm a senior in college, but I was like done. I was burnt out, and it was like 2 semesters left, and I said, Uncle Sam takes all kind of people, and I was like, I'm in shape. I'm an athlete. I could do this. And my dad said something that motivated the shit out of me. He looked at me because my dad grew up in the hood. Okay. I grew up in the suburbs, cul-de-sacs. But see, my dad always put
cul-de-sac
black, baby. So my dad always put on me because him and his brothers, he grew up in the hood. And he looked at me and said, son, you too soft to go to the army. You want to talk about? I said, Dad, you think I'm soft? Because I ain't got no reason to be tough. I was like, but if you put me in an environment, fuck that.
Yeah.
Man, I went with a mission. You want to talk about a mission, man? I went in the army.
And you already finished college.
I didn't finish.
But you had enough credits to where you would have gone in as an officer.
No. No, I had, so it works like this. If you go in, they can send you back out to finish school.
Okay.
Or you can go to school afterwards.
Got it.
I just want to do 4.5 years. If you do officer, you got to do like 7 years. It's a commitment. They'll let you do college. Yeah.
The reason I say that is because when I was a sophomore in college, and this is right when I got done playing football, I went through a similar thing of what you're talking about, where it's like I need to get on like a path. I want to find a path. And my grandfather was an original Green Beret when they first started it. He was in for like a long time, like 30 years, something like that. He was a sergeant major. And I remember he used to say when we were kids, he was like, because he was basically just like, don't join unless you, basically what your dad was saying, like I did this so you don't have to. Don't. But I remember when I stopped playing football, I was like, I need to find something. Yeah. And I walked into a recruiter's office.
Which branch?
I was Army.
Okay.
Drunk out of my mind. Yeah. Took the ASVAB, scored really high on it. Yeah. And they were like, you could do special forces like your grandfather.
Right.
And then they were, and then they were like, but you're almost done with your sophomore year of college. They're like, if you just stay in till you need like X amount of credits. They were like, if you have 160 credits, you can come in as an officer. And it's a whole different ballgame.
What year was this?
I was a sophomore, so this would have been 2010, 11, that time.
Interesting. Yeah, they didn't tell me that
but
shit.
he might have just been. But as to your
They
point, they will bullshit
They do
the
anything.
hell out of you.
Because, see, recruiters have a quota.
Yep.
And a quota is a number. And you represent that number. And as long as you're healthy and you don't have any setbacks, I'm not saying that he wasn't telling you the truth. I'm just saying when I got in, the college credits count.
Yeah.
I went in as a higher rank, but I was enlisted or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. If they give you something, you going to pay for it in time.
Yeah.
So if they give you officers had to do 7 years. Went up 4.5 years.
Crazy.
And I was just like, I'm not in it like that. I'm thinking, I literally went to the Army thinking about this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, and other people don't think like that, but I was just like, I want benefits. I don't want to have to worry about health insurance, all that shit.
Yeah.
I was thinking long term because I listen to artists and they say stuff like, they ain't got dental, and I'm like, I ain't got time. I
haven't been to a doctor in 6 years.
Okay, and I bet
last
every
physical
day
I got was when I was 30.
You're like, my arm's fine.
Yeah.
Fuck that. It's
That's
like
what Aleve and ice and a Theragun is for.
Right, and I'm covered for life. And and I didn't know that going in, but these are the kind of things.
So I cut you off to make it all about me, as I always do.
That's
but
good.
Take us through it. So you walk into the recruiter's office. You're like, this is what I'm gonna do. 4.5. Did you already know going in? Were you like 4.5 year contract? This is what I want to do, or did you have to like sit down with him and go through everything?
I knew I needed a support system. I knew I needed discipline because I was like, if I'm gonna do art. I was one of them kids, I thought waking up for an 8 a.m. class was early. Like, I was like, oh, my God, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I was one of them, like, fuck. Like, now, 8 a.m., the Army helped me realize 8 a.m. is late as fuck. You could get a whole lot of shit done by 8 a.m., right?
Yeah.
And I didn't think like that. And I was like, if I'm going to do art, I want to do it in a disciplined way. And I was like, I know discipline and Army is synonymous. And my dad was like, you ain't got to go to the Army for discipline. And I was like, Dad, you did.
Class.
Yeah, I was like, Dad, you did 10 years. But it's so funny when parents choose things for themselves, they don't want it for their kids.
Yeah.
But after joining, I realized my uncle was a Marine. He did a number of years. My grandfather was in the service. My dad was. I didn't even know we were a military family.
You are.
But now, and I did 4.5 years honorable discharge, which means you do what you're supposed to do and you get all the benefits, right?
Yeah.
And so, but when I went in, my whole goal was I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna find a way to learn skills that'll get me into a big city, so that I don't have to go there like I'm an artist, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know I was actually afraid of just being an artist. I didn't know that.
Okay.
I didn't know that really was the underlying thing. And it took a lot of shit to happen for me to go, fuck it, I'm a comedian. Like,
Yeah.
I would say I'm an aspiring. What the fuck is aspiring? Because
Yeah.
either you tell jokes or you don't, mother. Like,
Either you do it or you
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, that was my game plan. And when I went in, of course, it's a whole lot of stuff that could distract you. And I was like, no STDs, no babies. And
No STDs, no babies.
Like, seriously.
You listening? Are you listening, listeners? No STDs, no babies.
Yeah, because those are the kind of things, one that stick with you, not kids. I'm not saying kids are STD, but I'm saying, I was like, when I get in, I want to get in and take positive things with me. I don't want to
Accept a positive STD test. Oh!
You're a professional, man.
Yeah,
you should do comedy, bro.
I should.
You should do stand-up.
Because what I'm doing is not comedy.
No,
no.
yes, you are. I would not be here if you weren't funny, brother.
That's true.
I'll tell
I
you that
appreciate
now. I'll be like, podcast my ass. I'm like, I'm busy. I'm booked. I'm booked the fuck up. I'm in the library, booked. You will not see me. No, but yeah, man. So Army.
How New York? Why New York?
I wanted LA because I had some family out there. I hated cold weather, and I'm like, oh, acting, comedy, both right there in LA. I knew
I'll
nothing.
be Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I knew nothing about LA, but I knew Sunshine, right? And they didn't have a veteran affairs job there because I got hired before I got out. I found this program, which is the biggest fear. Like, if you about to get out of the Army early and not retire, they be like, you're not gonna find any work.
So do they push you? Do they push you to sign the next contract?
It's called retention. Hell yeah.
So
just like the
what are you
recruiters
gonna-
have a quota to get you in, there's people who have a quota to keep you in. It's called retention. And so I just looked at them and I'm just like, motherfucker, I know people with no skills who make ends meet in life. I'm like, you telling me I did all these amazing things for the Army, which is transferable. It's transferable till you want to get out.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's what they say.
They do that. They do that.
Learn life skills.
You're gonna be flipping burgers. You're not. And I was like, oh shit. I thought I was a leader. I thought y'all saw a future general in me. Now all of a sudden I ain't shit because I want to get out. And I was like, y'all got. But that's why I'm glad I joined as a grown ass man.
Yeah.
And not as an impressionable teenager. Because I hate impressionable teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want that pregnant pause there because I thought it was funny. I don't know why, but I thought it was funny. Anyway, I should do stand up. I'm gonna plug my. I should fucking try. No, but anyway, I got a VA job and New York opened up. Should I be looking over here?
You can look over to the audience, or you can look at me. Whatever you want.
Fuck them. I never give a fuck about the audience. It's all about you. No, but hey, what's up? How y'all doing? No, so yeah, pretty much. But I got somebody quit. They retired from the VA.
Okay.
And they were like Manhattan. And if you know anything about the Army, you got to go which Manhattan? Because they'd be like Manhattan, Kentucky. You'll love it. And they were like Manhattan, New York. And I was like, holy shit, that's where all the comedians go. And I was like, shit, that's what I want to do. So I moved to. I knew nothing about New York. I'm a Southern boy, but going in the Army and having to be so close all the time and compact, it prepared me for the zoo. Yeah. That was, and I've loved it ever since. But I didn't come here like I'm gonna do comedy. I had a corporate. I had a corporate job.
You knew exactly where I was going. So when you showed up here, because comedy had always been in the back of your mind, and then you did.
Yeah, it was the motivation to put stuff in place, but I wasn't a plunge guy.
Okay.
So when I moved,
talk about it. Yeah. So you get here, you're in New York, you're working a job.
Yeah.
And are you working a job through the VA or at the VA?
At the VA. They had an office on Houston.
Okay.
You know, Lower Manhattan, right? Cool. And I'm wearing my Banana Republic. You know, I'm fresh out the Army. I'm in shape and shit.
Yeah.
And
what's up, girl?
Yeah. And this, so coming from Tennessee and coming from small towns, you know, there was options. No. I'm gonna be honest. So when I moved here in 2016, I told myself I learned about Tinder probably 2 years prior.
Okay.
Tinder in Kansas, on a military base, is a totally different experience than Tinder in Bushwick, in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Tinder in Kansas, I would go, okay, cow, mule, a woman. She got eyes and hands, match. That's Tinder in Kansas. Tinder in Lower Manhattan, I got here and I said, I'm not getting on a dating app. I'm focused. I'm going to be a vegetarian. I'm focused, right? That shit lasted a month. I downloaded that app. Fuck open mics. I was on that app and I swear to God, no flex. It was like 60 matches. And it wasn't like the South. It wasn't like just, you know.
I know what you're saying.
Black, white. Yeah. It was like Japanese, Asian, black, white, blue hair, pink hair. Like, I was like, holy shit. And he's like, this is when Tinder was a real place. Yeah. It wasn't all this bots like bot shit.
Yeah.
I was a serial dater. And I just, I got distracted.
Yeah.
And not blaming them. It was on me. And I had fun. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say, but you would never, it made me laugh when you said, I'm surprised I've never met you. If I went to an open mic, I would go to an open mic maybe once every 90 days, and I would tell people back, I'm going for it, man.
Yeah.
I'm going for this comedy thing. I'm going for pussy. That's what I was going for, and I got good at it. It was like, no, I'm talking about the dating part. Like, calamari.
But that's the name of the episode now.
I learned what a charcuterie board was, and it fucked my world up.
I had no idea either.
I was in Williamsburg.
I learned about it way later in life, like in college.
Yeah.
Because growing up, because I come from an Eastern European family, and like I grew up half my life in the suburbs, and so we would just put meat on a tray and put it out.
Right.
But we didn't call it anything.
Right.
And then when I got to college, people were like, "Oh, the charcuterie."
Right.
Like,
you learned about it in college. I remember it was a date, and the girl, she said some fancy ass word in Williamsburg, and you know I do what I'm supposed to do. I act like I give a fuck, right? Because it's first date, and I
taking notes.
No,
taking notes out there.
I'm
just pretend. We're playing pretend.
I'm making eye contact, and I'm like, yeah, man,
That's number 2, eye contact.
And she said she could, and she got so excited about it. And I was like, I'm funding this shit. You know, don't. I'm like,
you're Uncle Sam now.
Nah, I'm like, whatever you want. And then I learned about rosé.
Okay.
And then I was an orange juice connoisseur. I was the type of person where I liked pulp. I like heavy pulp.
Yeah, me too.
I love orange juice. I wasn't a big drinker coming out of the Army, but someone was like, do you want a mimosa since you like orange juice so much?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So you don't have a big history of drinking.
No, I don't. That's why I love this podcast.
Yeah.
Ex-drinking buddy.
And then we're going to get into like your first drink at 23, which still blows my mind. You were talking about it on stage, and I could not stop laughing. But the mimosa thing. So you're an orange juice connoisseur.
Yeah. I was like.
And how old are you at this point?
When I moved here, I don't like getting into dates. See, I said I moved here in 2016. I'm in my late 20s when I moved here or whatever. So what made me like, I tell people I'm 55. I don't like, because people crack me out. They be so hung up on age. I'm like, bitch, I'm 60. Get over it. Yeah. But anyway. That's my spirit animal is old black man. Like, it is literally, I be like, I can't connect with these motherfuckers. But anyway, so.
These kids out here.
Yeah, man. I be like, what the fuck are y'all? And I'm talking like 35-year-olds. I'm like, you give a fuck about that? Like, what is wrong with y'all? But anyway, so.
You're talking to one right now.
I fucks with you, though. Like,
no,
I
listen.
What I mean?
Like, it's hard sometimes to be like, because you look out and you see, like, I went to the New York, one of the things for the New York Comedy Festival last year in November. Yeah. And they were doing like a comics to watch. And I was looking at the list and I was like, I don't know. I know a lot of comics. I was like, I don't know any of these people. And then I see them come in and they're all like in their like early 20s. And I was like, oh, I missed it. I missed the boat. Like, I'm too old.
Fuck. Let me tell you something. I might be young in the comedy game, but I'll say this. When it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah, that's true.
If I could say anything from the people who wasn't chasing pussy in 2016 and stuck with it, them motherfuckers are doing. And that's why I'm excited about now, because it's just consistency. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Hard work and consistency, it'll get you somewhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And, whatever. But anyway, so I say that to say, keep doing what you're doing, motherfucker.
Keep pushing.
And I ain't going to be surprised when they be like, yeah, man, Brendan. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, that motherfucker knows me. Of course he's famous. The fuck you think this is? Taking all the whites with me.
I'm taking all the whites.
Abolitionists, bring your ass. I remember the Underground Railroad in Astoria. Bring your ass. My bad.
I'm taking all the whites.
I'm taking all the whites. And my people, too. Don't come on. I'm going to tax their ass, but y'all get in for half off on Mondays.
So who comes to you about the mimosa thing?
The random, date, and it blew my mind.
Okay, so this is a date you're on.
Right,
okay,
so I'm on a date, and I got mimosas from establishments, and I didn't know that, like in Manhattan or Brooklyn, if they make a drink for you, they're making it where it's profitable for them.
Yeah.
So they're giving me a lot of orange juice, a little bit of champagne. I go to one of my homies' barbecue, and they're making homemade mimosas. So I'm in the kitchen. I was like, I've never made one.
Yeah.
And the guys are like, this motherfucker just trying to get attention from the women. And I was like, you're right. But it worked. But also, all the women was like, oh, baby, let me help you. Whatever. But when they made it, it was this much champagne.
Splash.
And it was the first time I got fucked. I was sitting on the couch, and it felt like I kept sinking down.
Yeah. Get out.
And I was like looking at everybody moving around me, and I only had like two. I remember girls used to say, you're a cheap date. I didn't know what that meant. And I'm like, motherfucker, I paid for this whole fucking thing. Like, I told you to order whatever you want. And they were like, no, you just you don't drink a lot, so you get there quickly. I had two real mimosas. Champagne and orange juice is one of the most lethal combinations. I said, this shit is crazy.
Were you just sitting on the couch? Just like
I was having a time of my life, and I was just looking at everybody, and I just was like, am I the only one falling? Like, I was like, this shit. And then I was like,
Am I the only one falling?
I was like, let me tilt my head back to relax on the couch. And when it felt like my head just kept going. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. Like, it was, oh my God, I was fucked up. But that was my mimosa.
Because you don't really drink that often. And we were talking about this the other day, but when did you had told me, but for the listeners, you didn't drink at all in high school.
No.
Or in college.
No.
So what was that? were you around people? Because I know you talk about how your dad was a pastor.
Yeah.
Were you around people who were like partying and drinking and stuff? Because I'm assuming you played sports because you're super into sports.
I played basketball, but I was on one of those. So it was people like in the 90s, early 2000s. It was people who smoked weed. But remember, weed was demonized at that time, right?
I just actually, speaking of Onika, we talked about this on her episode where she railed against it forever. And then,
oh my God, I just realized who you said. I love Onika. She lived in the same neighborhood as me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But she railed against it forever. And then once it became legal and kind of more around, she started doing it. And her kids were like, are you kidding me right now?
No, like, yeah. So growing up, weed was demonized.
Yeah.
Like hoopers who smoked weed, you were seen as like the worst. Like, you're terrible, right? And it was guys who could hoop that smoked weed, but I was on one of those like, well, I want to run fast. I don't want to get tired. So alcohol and smoking and whatever. It didn't have nothing to do with my dad being a pastor because it's just problem solving. I'm just like, I was good, but I wasn't like the best. Yeah. But I could bust people's ass, and I was just like, oh, I would bust your ass if you smoke. You're not gonna fuck with me.
Yeah, and that was interesting how that's immediately what my mind goes to. Is because I know your dad was a pastor, and then you say you didn't have your first drink till you were 23. I'm like, oh, obviously it's because his dad.
Nah, it was just how I was. Yeah. I just, kids was.
You're an old soul, baby.
Yeah, and it just didn't make sense to me. If it don't make sense to me,
you're in high school like these damn kids still.
Yeah,
know what to do.
Well, it's a multitude of reasons, but. Cause I wasn't in the parties, cause I wasn't getting invited like that. I was like, man, if he wasn't good at basketball, we wouldn't put his ass on the team. It was like that for me in high school. It wasn't like, oh, Robert, we love you. It was
really, because it's kind of the opposite now. When you walk into a mic, we're all like, Rob.
That's funny how life works.
Yeah,
some people peak in high school. Yeah, I was like. It was like a bad thing for me to be handsome in high school. It was like, fuck that nigga, like light-skinned motherfucker. And I was like, whoa, Ralph, you're really angry today. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, but no, so I wasn't going to parties and stuff like that. Definitely was on the basketball team. But the thing about drinking, I remember I was 23. I was with my friend from college. We were both at a Christian school called Oral Roberts University. We were home for break. She came with me. And I said, I'm about to do this. I was 23. Now, I was 23 at my pace.
Yeah.
I'm still a virgin, by the way, right?
Really?
Yeah. Okay, fuck you. I don't like really.
No, I'm saying really because
I need bass in your voice. Like, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Wait, anyway.
No, just the way
I gotta set this up right.
I know, that's perfect. But
right. So I'm
just you just slay so hard now.
Yeah.
You hear Rob on stage.
Oh,
Did you
please.
know he has an 8-inch penis?
Oh, whatever, man. You know what? I'm gonna say this about these.
Bigger than Carmelo Anthony.
I
remember.
I'm uncomfortable. It's hard to make me uncomfortable. I hate that you pay attention. God damn. I be like, these motherfuckers on their phone, they ain't listening. Brendan be like, I'm not. No, but I was joking about Carmelo.
Yeah, we're just joking.
I was joking.
Carmelo, big listener of the program. We're just messing around.
Jesus Christ.
Hello, my man.
Now, he be at Lifetime all the time. Man, what the fuck you say? Like, okay, don't be mad at me. You still talk. Anyway.
We're going to tag him in it.
No, we are not. Jesus Christ. Pause. Anyway, what were we talking about? What the fuck was we talking about?
23, you're with a friend.
I'm 23.
Yeah.
And I said,
he said, I'm gonna fucking
I'm about
today.
to do this. I'm doing this. I didn't know anything about drinking. So advertisement, I just listen. If the advertisement says it, I believe them. So I was like, I'm going to get the hardest shit I could find. I'm going to go home because I'm not drinking and driving.
Yeah,
right?
Smart.
So I'm with my friend, and I go to a local gas station because that's where you get your hard liquor, right?
Yeah.
And I love lemonade, and I see it say Mike Hard Lemonade.
Pause.
And I said, that's it. That's the one that's gonna fuck me up tonight. So I grabbed it, and then I see 3%, and I'm thinking, shit, most stuff must be 0.5, because you know when they do a breathalyzer, they say he blew a point. So I'm thinking 3%.
Yeah.
Shit. So I grab it, I go home, and I take it to my bedroom, and I announce them. I'm like, guys, I'm about to drink for the first time. I tell everybody, because for some reason I'm big on presenting stuff, setting stuff up.
Yeah.
So my mom come in the bedroom, and I never forget, her eyes was misty, and she was like, son, this is the beginning of the end. And I remember my friend, she drank. Like, drank.
Yeah.
So she was worried for me. But they was all worried for me, but they forgot to mention it, and they didn't tell me, Rob, this is the most pussy drink in the world. They were making it like I'm about to drink pure cocaine. And I remember I sipped it, and I was like
it's heroin.
Yeah, I was like, if this the end, it's the end. I'm doing this. Later, I realized I should have been more worried about diabetes
Hell yeah.
than fucking alcohol. That shit was pure sugar.
I cannot believe just the visual of you being like, let's
do it.
Go. You know what, Ma? I'm sorry.
I'm doing it. I'm tired of this. I'm coming off the sidelines. But when I got in the Army, they taught me about Jack and Coke and stuff like that.
Yeah, so were you a big drinker in the Army?
No.
Not a big drinker.
No, I would drink like spiked root beer.
Okay.
Right? But like I said, I needed to be more worried about diabetes. I like the sugary shit.
I drank Mountain Dew. Yeah. When I was in college, my go-to was spiced rum with Mountain Dew, which is like literally diabetes in a glass.
Exactly.
It's like so much sugar.
It's the sugar that you should worry.
Yeah. And luckily, when towards the end of my drinking, I was just straight vodka out of a water bottle guy.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm already abusing my body too much. I can't have all this extra sugar.
Absolutely.
And shit in it.
Absolutely.
So this is interesting to me because the Army or just the military in general is there's two different kind of paths, I guess, from my experience with my grandfather and then other people I've met, whether it's been, just out in the world, is that there's the guys who take it super seriously and they're like, no, I'm going for general, this is what I'm doing with my life. And then there's other people who are like, I just needed a purpose. I needed to find a path, but they still have a good time while they're there.
Yeah.
So for you, was it more when you're actually in the Army, I'm assuming there's people going out and drinking and having party, doing all. So were you around that or a part of that, or were you just kind of with same thing with basketball, where you're like, no, I'm focused in on what I'm doing?
Nah. So when I joined the Army, I'm learning a lot about life, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm learning, different personalities, different ethnicities, and everything counts times 10 because let's say you got a manager from the Deep South who might got a problem with whatever. This not a typical manager where you clock out, go home.
Yeah.
It's
whole
right.
Yeah.
So I'm learning a lot
about
life. Right. I'm learning a lot about teamwork, personalities, all of that shit.
Yeah.
But it's like a crash course. And so one thing about military installations, a lot of times they're by major universities.
Okay.
So Kansas State University was close to where I was. I was a college town.
Okay.
Now I was in my
Wildcats?
Yeah, Kansas State University. So I made a lot of friends who were freshmen in 2012.
Okay.
Now I'm ancient to them because I'm 25, 26. For the Army, I'm ancient. For the college town, I'm ancient because it's professors that age.
Yeah.
But I'm new to the Army, so I'm coming in with people who 17, 18, 19 don't know shit about life, but they know they want to serve. Me, I'm kind of I was all in. I wanted to learn the culture and all of that. But it's when you live life, your cup's kind of full.
Yeah.
So I would take what I wanted. Let's say they'd be like, guys, today we're going to run through a river. We're going to run through the river and we're going to run back. I would look at the equivalent of the VP of my company and I'd be like, I ain't doing that shit, right?
You talking about them?
Yeah, and
these 17-year-olds.
And the thing I love about the Army, your rank matters. But at the end of the day, humans are humans. And he'd be like, look, Johnson, I know you ain't gonna do that. Just do me a favor. Go and get a note and you can chill. Cause I got cool with the people I need to get cool with. Cause they realize this a grown ass man. This ain't no kid. And I would just be like, I'm all about my country. I bleed this shit.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting leeches up my ass because you motherfuckers want to. Because I was like, what did? Yeah, I'm not running. But they would get so hyped up, like, woo! And I was just like, that NASCAR shit, y'all can have that. I'm gonna be here at the company, waiting for you silly motherfuckers to get back. And that was me in the Army.
So how where were you at? So you were in Kansas.
And then I went to Kuwait. It was the best time of my life. I went there for like 9 months on deployment. Then
That is not normally the same sentence.
Okay,
normally people don't go, I was deployed to Kuwait. Best time of my life.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Okay, so look. I'm gonna shock your mind. I love open mics, and I love doing PT in the morning in the Army. I remember they would look at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Because I'm a problem solver. So once I realized in the Army, you have to get up and work out. My thing is, if I love the shit that people hate and bitch about, I'm going to have a great life.
Yeah, that's true.
I was
that's
like, there's no way around this shit.
You got to do it no matter what. You might as well do it with a smile.
So that's my mentality. And I chose to go. It was the first decision in my life where it wasn't my parents. It wasn't somebody else. It was me. So I was like, bitch, I'm going to make this work.
Yeah.
So when they told me to get up at 6:30 in the morning, I remember because I was like fucking around with this girl. I was late a couple times to formation. And I remember this leader pulled me aside. She said, let me tell you something, Johnson. If you keep doing what you're doing. Because she knew. I mean, them people seen everything, especially if they've been in for a while. She would see me coming trying to fix my uniform. And she saw the pussy dripping off my leg. Right? Yeah. And what was crazy... I lost my virginity once I joined the Army. Cause I was like, I ain't gonna die a virgin. Like, I love my country, but nigga, you want to talk about sad soldier?
That would be so.
If that IED blew up and I ain't never had no pussy, I'd be oh.
What was it all?
What was it all for? Fuck this shit. No,
I'm out.
Literally, I'd be the first person in heaven angry. Send me back, Lord. For what? To teach people about me? Sort of.
Something like that.
About your wonderful creation. Anyway, she could see the pussy dripping off of me. I remember she helped me. She said, let me tell you something. You keep on doing what you're doing, you could be one of them soldiers always in trouble. Let me tell you something. You can get in trouble for the silliest shit in the military, and they make a huge big deal. In regular life, it's not that big of a deal, but in that system. And I told myself, I was like, I don't want to be that person always getting in trouble. So I never got an Article 15 because I took that conversation serious.
Yeah. And
so,
they don't like kick you out. It's not like at a bar when you get too drunk, then they ask you to leave.
I mean, you can get kicked out for really dumb shit, but I'll say like if you late for formation, you might have to do stuff like extra duty, where basically, or they could deduct your rank and take money from you.
So that's pay, yeah.
Yeah, and that shit, oh my, you already getting paid peanuts. And I'm like, you not about to, nigga, please. You know, so.
About to dock my pay?
My God, I'm already getting paid just enough to be broke. And you gonna tell, oh no. So, but I had no kids, it's by myself, so it was a lot of money for me. So, expenses. That's, I was looking at people, like, man, we don't get paid shit. I like, you got 3 kids and a wife that don't work.
How is that even possible?
Nigga, yeah, I'm like, nigga, I just bought a PlayStation. What the fuck you mean we broke? We ain't broke the same. Anyway, so I got focused, and I said, let me look at what they asking me to do, because it's not a lot. Yeah. But I was like, if they want me to get up at 6:30, I'm gonna get up at 5:30, work out. And I thought everyone made that decision. Man, I would show up to formation soaking wet, like, whoa, we get to work out for our country. Like, they was like, drug test this nigga. And I remember the first month they said it's random drug test. The second month, random drug test.
So they kept doing it even though it kept
They drug tested me 3 months in a row. And my first time was laughing. He was like, we just want to make sure your motivation is authentic. I said, how is this random? Every time they would call my name. I pissed so much in the Army, all because I was excited about life. Yeah. And they didn't understand. Every day, I was like, oh, I'm a day closer to going for my dreams. That's all I kept thinking. I was like, it was some depressing days. A black man in Kansas, Jesus Christ. It wasn't I remember going there was no hip hop station. It was 10 different country stations. This is before Beyonce took over country. So I was just like, I was on the radio and I was like, where the fuck am I? Yeah. Oh my God. But I love my military experience because I just did. I just.
Well, take us through it. You said Kuwait was the best time.
So this is the thing. I left Kansas.
You get to Florida. Take us through exactly how you're feeling, because that's something no one listening, unless you've been in it, could ever imagine, myself included, where it's like, I've heard the stories from people and my grandfather, and we've talked about it and stuff, but I couldn't imagine getting that call like, hey, pack up, you ship out tomorrow.
Okay, so I'll say this. It's 2005. 14ish.
Okay.
Right. In Mosul in Iraq, what's it called? ISIS at the time. I say it was ISIS.
Taliban?
No, not Taliban. It was ISIS. It was Obama was in office, but they started popping off. At first, when you hear deployment, when you hear Middle East, you just think death, because that's what the news pumps out.
Yeah.
And I remember this like, and I thought I never would get deployed because our installation wasn't active, and all of a sudden it got activated because there's an installation you want to be deployable. Because what's the fucking point?
Yeah,
like,
why would you be there?
Yeah, and everyone's trying to advance their careers, so they want to go overseas. Cause that's where you. So I'm nervous as fuck.
Is that where you get advancement? Is going over? Like,
it's rapid.
Engaging.
I mean, you gotta think about it. Imagine someone who's like, I've been in the army for 10 years and they never been overseas. Then somebody be like, I've been to Afghanistan, I've been to Iraq, I've been to
10 tours, 6 tours, whatever.
Yeah, it's like that is experience.
That's the guy, yeah.
Right. Because at the end of the day,
it's on the job training.
It's a deployable.
Yeah.
Yep. So when they told me I was going to Kuwait, I'm nervous. I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm about to die. I'm about to die. And somebody who knew shit pulled me aside and was like, motherfucker, Kuwait is the suburbs of the Middle East.
You're like, I'm going home, baby.
Yeah. It was basically the Abercrombie of the Middle East. And so I was just like,
I'm going home.
Right. But here's the thing. When I got over there, and this is some real shit, I'm coming from Kansas where it's black people in the army, right? But it's still Kansas.
Is your division mainly like white guys from Kansas?
Yes, and I was in a cavalry squadron. It wasn't a whatever. But anyway, so yeah, it was some good old boys. I love them. I love my soldiers. But goddamn it, culturally, it was a big country festival.
Yeah, we've all seen Remember the Titans.
Well, yeah.
That scene in the bedroom with Ryan
Yeah,
Gosling.
it was like that.
In the movies.
Okay, yes. So when I go to Kuwait for the first time, I mean, Kuwait at the time had the #1 currency in the world. A lot of wealth. But the thing is, all the people with money was darker than me, right? And so for the first time, when I would go to a mall, when I go to a restaurant, because we were out in the desert, but I found a way to be out in the city. The city is beautiful. And when I let me tell you something. The women, I was like, oh, this is where the Kardashians come. Like,
yeah,
it was Kuwait got all kind of women. Like the people who like work fast food, I swear to God, they're like Korean models. Like it was crazy, right? So, and it was women from Africa. It was oh God, right? And I mean, anyway. So when I go over there, I'm so used to being the black guy, the black man. Oh my God, the black man's in the store. Black man, right? I get over there.
Nah, not even close.
American. And I was like, holy shit. Is this what white people feel all the time in America? Like the only label was my country. And it was like, they were automatically impressed. And it wasn't like they looked amazing. Like the skin, the teeth, the makeup industry in Kuwait. Oh,
out of control.
Beautiful. Like, and then I learned something. So you ever seen hijab, right?
Yeah.
I remember this girl told me, because this is what they told us. Don't talk to the women over there. Don't talk to the women over there. You get in trouble. True.
And you can get them in trouble.
True. But one thing about the youth, I'll say this. I knew how to sit in church and look like I was the best person in the world. But you put that church face on. This girl put me to the side. She was like, you think we all wear this because of religion? She was like, for some, it's just tradition. And depending on the neighborhood we in, we got to follow the tradition of the neighborhood. But she was just like, I learned English from listening to Trey Songz. And who do you think her Trey Songz was in that moment? Me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, thank God for hip hop. Thank God for the internet, because I learned a lot. Like, it wasn't as stifling and stuffy over there. So imagine coming from Kansas, where like, it is what it is. And then I go over to this country, and it was like, it opened my eyes. I remember this dude was in traditional garb, and his daughter was in traditional garb. And I get over there, and all I'm seeing is like, oh, terrorist bombs, right?
Yeah. Because that's what the news is.
Yeah. And I didn't realize how conditioned I was. And all of a sudden, I'm standing in line for frozen yogurt, and I see this guy who's dressed how Hollywood would dress somebody to be a terrorist.
Yeah.
And his daughter tugging on his arm. She's like, Papa, I want pomegranate. Papa, I want pomegranate. He said, okay. And I was like, if a bomb blow up right now, I'm going to be fucked up for life. But I was like, if this motherfucker go buy some pomegranate for his daughter, I was just like, I can relate to this shit. I want some pomegranate. The little girl wants some pomegranate. The dad is fresh. And I was just like, the world isn't how I thought it was.
It's all the same.
Then I blew them Army's mind. They were like, all right, time to go home. I don't want to go home. That's how much fun I was having. Man, I was playing basketball for my brigade. And I got to play with the Kuwaiti Army, and I'm going on dates and shit. I'm like, nigga, I ain't leaving. I ain't going back to Kansas.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to Shirley. Yeah, I'm not going back.
Trey Songz here.
That didn't age well. He's going through some things. I love Trey. But this is Trey with the braids.
Yeah,
This ain't the Trey we got now. Everybody is Diddy in their life.
Yeah.
They're Diddy in their life right now. I don't know what's going on.
Everybody.
Anyway.
It's
Edit
kind of
that.
a mess.
Edit that. Anyway, they say it's time to go home. Nah, man. And it was like, well, if you want to stay, you got to go to Iraq. Now, I'm a Christian. I prayed about it. Let me tell you something. My whole family always say pray about it. But this ain't one of them things they think you need to pray about. My mom was like, son, bring your behind home. And I said something no religious family want to hear when they don't think you doing what you're supposed to do. I said, Mom, God told me I'm supposed to go. My parents lost their mind. Because I was even nervous. I was like, I could literally.
This isn't the suburbs anymore.
This ain't the suburbs no more. And they told me, they were looking at me like, I remember this dude. He's like, man, did you find a girl out here or something? Because he was like, you know you going to Iraq. You ain't going to be able to stay here. You ain't going to be able to stay in the lap of luxury. You going to have to go to Iraq. And I was like, cool, man. I'm with it, man. Whatever, man. I was nervous as fuck. But
playing it off like you didn't. Yeah, whatever, dude.
I went to Iraq for a month, and they had to send me out because it was a cap. They changed how long deployments could be. But it was the greatest thing in the world. I went to Iraq. I'm sitting there having lunch with an Iraqi soldier. And I'll never forget. I was like, I want to see if my comedy works on this motherfucker. He barely spoke English. And he said something about having a daughter. And I was like, man, I'm going to take your daughter to the movies, man. What time you want me to bring her home? And he went, I'll kill you. And I was just like, the news been lying to me.
It works.
I said, an American father say the same. I was like, I fucking love this shit. And so I had a great time. And then when I got back, because I went to Iraq for a month, that's why I'm covered for life health insurance. They called,
really?
When I got out, they were like, because you're in this class of soldier. And I was like, and this one I learned.
And that was all because you just wanted to hang out in the Middle East a little longer.
Brother, I was having time of
That's
my life.
nuts.
I know. And
you didn't do that on, but that's
it
what I'm
wasn't
saying.
on
Like, you didn't
purpose.
do it on purpose.
If
You
I would have just went to Kuwait and came back, I wouldn't have had coverage. And it's because I went to Iraq, and I remember I stopped having a corporate job, and I was like, oh, I don't need my parents' health insurance. I'll just, buy health insurance. I remember they were like, for shitty health insurance, it's $900 a month.
It's insane.
I said, you motherfucker. Oh, my God. It was crazy. So I remember randomly the VA called, and they said, congratulations. You're in class whatever. And I said, what kind of health insurance is this? I said, if I break my leg on the basketball court, will y'all pay for it? And they were like, congratulations, yes. I said, oh, my God, that's health
You're
insurance.
covered, yeah.
I was like, that's real coverage.
Yeah.
Because they said, well, technically you got to fill out this form. And
that's what they did to my grandfather. Was he broke his leg? He was an original paratrooper, and he broke his leg with the 82nd, and
oh wow,
and it was like bad, like shattered his leg, and he stayed, recovered, stayed in the Army, did the whole thing, but then when he got out, they like messed him around with the disability. And it's like, oh, fill out these forms, no, fill out those forms, no, do like 30 or 40 years it took for them to finally be like, okay, and then like not even a year later, he passed away, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I think you still could fill out certain forms and get that compensation for your family.
But it's just one of those things where like you said, it's like.
So remember when I got out, I had the VA job.
Yeah.
I had a job where I would do the paperwork for soldiers, make sure it was in order so they could get compensation. So I got out learning all about that. Because of those generations where they jerked around, they made it for my generation and after way easier to get compensation. Okay. Oh my God, because especially Vietnam, they did them soldiers so dirty. And like you said, paperwork. And that's why I was nervous because, New York is not cheap, and it'll come at you, fast. And I was just like, I can't be in the city without health insurance. What the fuck? And that's that.
Not everyone's a goon.
No. That's that lifestyle I live. So, but when they called me, it was all because of that. Yeah. And I was like, I'm glad I listened.
That 1 month.
But I was nervous as fuck in Iraq. I ended up being in the embassy. Oh. And if you know anything about the embassy,
there's some stuff that's happened.
It's safe as fuck.
Yeah.
It's safe. And it was like the green zone. I didn't know, but you don't know that going in.
No, they just say Iraq, and you go, well, I've watched the news.
I'ma die. Yeah. But
I wanted to ask you, so we've got time for one more story. We can do weed brownies or La Boom in Queens. Which one do you want to do?
Let's do the weed brownie.
All right. What happened here? Because you're not a big weed guy. Are you a weed guy now?
No, I'm not anti. But I don't smoke.
Yeah,
so I want to try drugs, right? And I'm working for the VA, and I remember my manager. I come from getting drug tests all the time because I'm so excited.
Because you're happy about life, baby.
So I'm nervous, and he looked at me and said, I'm going to just be honest with you. I've been with the VA for 8 years, never been drug tested. And this was right before 420. And I was like, I think this Jewish motherfucker trying to get me to do drugs. Yeah. And he was basically looking at me like, you don't got to worry, right?
I'm going to tell you something. We can do drugs.
Right? So, weed wasn't deemed, it was what is it called? Decriminalized,
yeah.
Right? It's like 2018. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was just like, yo, I want to do weed brownies. Everybody just kept telling me, cool, if you do it, just nibble it. Don't eat the whole brownie. Now, if you know anything about me, I'm all in or nothing. I was like, fuck you soft motherfuckers.
I'm doing it.
I always eat the whole brownie. If I get a brownie with walnuts,
why would I
eat with the nibbling? I want, So I told.
So wait, is this something you had bought like at a store? Or did somebody make these?
Nah, so I had a homie who knew somebody. He was like, he can make you a batch. I said, bet. Because this is at the time, it wasn't like it is now. Yeah. Right. But you could get it. You didn't have to worry about boom on the ground. White people never had to. Anyway, I don't want to go that way.
I've been arrested 8 times.
Yeah, okay. You know what? You know what's so funny about
my
you saying
way
that?
Worse than yours.
I was just like, no wonder he laughed like that. It's like, this motherfucker lived a colorful life. Brendan be like, I've been arrested. I played football.
I'll tell you the same thing I tell everybody. I smoke Newport cigarettes. I was a Division I football player in Florida, and I've been arrested 8 times. On paper, I'm the blackest person in this room right now.
I'm statistically, you hitting them data points. I clutch my pearls. I was like, oh, Lord. No, so I told my girlfriend, I was like, I'm about to tear that ass up tonight, right? Right? I was like, we're going to do the weed brownie. We had bottles of champagne.
Okay. My man likes the champagne.
Right. So I eat the whole weed brownie. And I was like,
I keep forgetting you ate the whole.
I ate the whole fucking thing. And I'm sitting there, and she nibbled it because she had, But I'm drinking the champagne. I was like, man, this is some bullshit. I was like, it was really chocolate, and it had a very pungent odor to it.
Yeah.
You know that marijuana smell, right? And I'm sitting there chilling, and all of a sudden I'm laying on the bed, and the pillow became the softest pillow. It was like massaging my bald head, right? And I had a window at the time where the wind was blowing in, and that wind was harassing me. It was hilarious. Because I looked at my girlfriend. I said, girl, if you don't stop touching me like that. And she was like, I'm not touching you. I didn't know Mother Nature was getting her groove on. Like, the wind was fucking me up. So I was like, oh, shit. Everything felt too good. And so I was fucking with my girlfriend at the time. I started shaking, acting like, I'm ODing on weed. The first nigga ever, right? And so she was like, quit playing or whatever. I swear to God, I don't know what happened, but the next day I woke up and I was like, was it as good for you as it was for me?
Stupid.
And she looked at me, she's like, nigga, you passed out. Like, I passed out, and it
Did you
hit
enjoy
me.
it?
Yeah,
Did you like it?
It hit me in waves. Like, I would say marijuana and champagne are not, it's not a good thing for erections.
Yeah.
And I didn't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't a honey pack. Like, it was terrible, but no, that was the only time.
And you haven't messed with it since?
No.
Damn.
No, that was it. I'm a square.
Dude, this was fun though.
Yeah.
You had plenty of stories.
I wasn't worried about not talking. I was like, I hope he's organized. It's been 4 hours, Rob. Get the fuck out of my ear.
We're doing a JRE style, man. Hey, 4.5 hours.
Shit. Nah, man. But
plug everything one more time, dude.
Support black people. Rob J's Thoughts, Instagram, ex drinking buddy.
Boom.
Brennan, come to shows. I don't have any shows coming up.
You do or don't?
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
Me neither.
It got dry on me.
Yeah.
I was like,
you were crushing it there for a second.
I was performing so fucking much. I literally, I remember I said something.
You had a show at the Apollo, didn't you?
Yeah.
I remember
went to
that.
Apollo. Yeah. They was so. I remember this comedian. I was like, man, I haven't been able to go to open mics, man. I've been performing so much. He looked at me. He was like, that's a good thing, motherfucker. Yeah. I had no idea. I was like, I miss my boys, man. I was like, I'm making friends, and I didn't know, but it's dry now. And I was like,
Jared Waters had a really good point when he came on the podcast. He said when he first moved to New York, same kind of thing we all go through, like not getting as many spots. Like came here, had done comedy for a while, then moved here, because I asked him, I go, because his nickname is Turbo, and I go, dude, you have so many shows all the time. He goes, because when I got here, I didn't have any shows. So I was just doing mics every day, just getting on stage 3 or 4 times a day, every single day. And then slowly that turned into, okay, I got a show here and a show there, and then a show there and a show. And now he does that same style of like getting on stage 3 or 4 times every single night, but now it shows.
Yeah.
And he's like, you just keep, like you said, consistency. Just keep doing it every day,
being around, networking and being around. And I got a little taste of that because I started doing midnight shows and shit like that. And I had to, learn, because I like getting up early in the morning or whatever.
What time do you get up, like 5?
Naturally.
Yeah.
Just naturally. But that's not conducive to
midnight shows?
Night shows. And I was beating myself. I was like, man, you don't really want this. You should be in the gym working out. It's 6 a.m. already. Why the fuck you still asleep? And I had to learn. I was like, Rob, you just got home. Like, chill the fuck out. So I had to adjust my sleep schedule. But it dried up.
Are you sleeping later now?
Not. It depends. If I have now, I could regular schedule. Like I worked out before, went running for this.
Oh, I thought you said you worked out. You went running. That's not.
Well, I didn't want to be too late. I didn't want to color people time your ass.
That's not.
Oh my God.
Running is not working.
I only ran because I knew I had this. I was gonna cancel on your ass. But you were so excited.
We've tried to schedule this 4 times.
Oh,
if
my
you would
God.
have canceled, I would have.
I'm done with you.
To quote the Iraqi soldier, I will kill you.
No, but this is so fun. This is
Dude,
better.
this was the best.
I knew it was going to be great, the best you've ever done. Because I love being the reason, like the muse for people to be great. And I know this is finally going to send you.
There we go. This is it. This is what we needed. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. At Brennan T. Comedy on all social media. BrennanTComedy.com. Check out the one-man show, Ex-Drinking Buddy, A Comics A Good Life, Near-Death Recovery, and Redemption. And we'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace.
Boom.